Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host Tony Cañas, switching to my radio voice. And today I have with me Roberto Salinas, Head of Business Development at LULA. Roberto, thank you for joining
Hey.
me today. How's it going?
I'm excited to be here. This is fun, and I've been looking forward to doing this for quite a while.
Awesome, awesome. So we're recording on November 13th. Uh, Roberto reminded me before we started recording that we met at Inditech a couple
Yeah,
months ago. And now Inditech is very promising, and it's moving down to your neck of the woods. Uh,
yeah,
looks like it's going to be, I think, Fort Lauderdale or Tampa now.
yeah.
Uh,
I think it's Fort Lauderdale, which makes a lot of sense. You know, it's easier to get to. Uh, and but I actually, funny enough, I moved to Chicago not so long ago. So now
oh,
Indianapolis is closer than Fort Lauderdale for me. 'Cause I
okay.
used to be based in Miami.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're listed on LinkedIn as Miami, so I was gonna ask
Yeah,
if it's hot enough.
I'll have to update that.
So November in Chicago. This is your first winter in the Midwest.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's already started to get cold. It's been around 3 years since I've had to wear a sweater inside. So, or even outside for that matter. So, it's gonna be an interesting winter for sure.
All right, good luck with that. Midwestern winters are awful. Chicago's a fun city, but yeah, the winter sucks. So we
I've heard.
we we always give the guest the chance to give the elevator pitch. What
Sure.
is LULA?
So Lula, we've developed a tool called GAIL. GAIL stands for Generative AI by Lula. Not a very original acronym, but you know it'll do its job. And basically, this is a conversational AI meant to give productive time back to agents. A lot of the time that agents spend is on the phone, is doing tasks that don't necessarily require their expertise. For example, 60% of the time that agents spend on the phone is on billing and payment related questions. Now, I understand the importance of answering those questions. However, it doesn't require years and years of experience and uh, being able to advise in risk mitigation um, to help a customer out that doesn't know how to pay their premium for this month, right? So GAIL is a tool that helps take over those repetitive tasks, customer-facing repetitive tasks, and give back time to the agents to focus on growing their business. So I like to think of ourselves as an enhancer for an agency.
Okay, and we're talking voice.
Yeah, yeah.
Correct.
I mean, so we're actually releasing uh, a new tool pretty much later this week, I believe, where it's not only voice, so spoken communications, but it's also text, email, WhatsApp, because I know there's some communities, especially the Latin American communities, we only use WhatsApp, right? So I'd say omni-channel customer-facing communications.
Okay. Okay. All right. So it's designed to take over the repetitive uh
So
busy work.
a great way to think about it is I don't know if you've ever heard of the Pareto principle.
80/20.
Uh yeah, 80/20, right? 80% sorry, 20% of those tasks that you do represent 80% of the revenue for the agency, and the inverse. 80% um of tasks take up the bulk of your time. So, we've really designed this tool not to replace an agent, because a lot of people ask us that, like, hey, I feel like this is threatening to my uh, profession as an insurance agent, as somebody that interacts with customers. No, we're there to really enhance the relationship that you have with your customers by providing constant availability. So think about it this way. If somebody is shopping for car insurance, they just want to get, a starting quote, an idea of what their insurance is going to cost. They're probably going to be doing that shopping after hours or on the weekends. Why? Because they're not at work. It's when they actually have time to do that. Unfortunately, the majority of agencies are not available to help out during those times. So they'll call an agency, they'll get sent to a voicemail or an IVR menu, maybe leave a voicemail. I know I personally never do. Um, and then what are they going to do? They're going to continue to shop around until there's an agency that either picks up or is able to quote them online. Um, what we say is, let us help you make that potential customer feel heard. Because if they feel heard, if they feel like, oh, somebody's going to reach out to me on Monday, they already know that I want to insure a 2021 Toyota Corolla. I told them I don't have the VIN, but I'll get it by Monday. They're much less likely to continue shopping around, right? So and we're not binding a policy. All we're doing is we're collecting information. Um, so I think that's like after hours and on the weekends is one use case that we've seen really, really successful adoption of.
Yeah. Yeah. So so what about what are the use cases during the normal workday? What?
Yeah, great question. So um, we've divided use cases into two buckets: inbound communications and outbound communications. Inbound communications tend to be more support related. It's, people calling into an agency for whatever reason. And outbound communications, it's a mix of both support and sales. Why? You can call your customers, your current customers, let's say 60 days prior to renewals, to inform them, to ask them if they would want to renew. Or in the case of homeowners insurance, to ask them if they've had any change in their mortgage in the last year, right? So those are conversations that you as an agent need to have, and a lot of times those are really the ones that you don't look forward to having, right? You don't look forward to calling 1,500 of your current homeowners customers to ask them if they've changed their mortgage provider in the last 12 months. Um, so GAIL can do all of that in an evening, and we'll spit back out a report with the entire call transcript, the call recordings. GAIL can even do live transfers. So if somebody says, yeah, but you know what, I'm also looking to insure my vehicle, like, can I speak to one of your agents to get a quote? Gail can say, sure thing, let me transfer you right now. And boom, sends that call over to one of your agents on the spot. So those are some of the other, I mean, at least for the outbound perspective, use cases that we've seen. And for the inbound perspective, a great example is agencies in Florida a few months back when the hurricane hit. They had a really rough time, and they knew that they were going to have a large influx of calls, specifically for people wanting to file claims. Right? They could see that a mile away. They were preparing for it. They know it's going to happen. And I had one particular agency, and they told me, "Hey, I would like GAIL to receive every single one of our inbound calls. If it's a claims related call, transfer to the carrier that that customer works with. If it's not, if it's anything else, just transfer to our front desk." Within 7 days, we had handled around 700 calls. So that's just one agency um, and how they decided to use GAIL. But it was working great. We were transferring over to carriers, and we were transferring over to their front desk, and they were actually so happy with it. They said, "I want to expand to more use cases." So we're working on that now with them as well.
Okay, so it sounds like you're at the stage where you're still very much customizing the service for each partner for each client.
Kind of. The cool thing is that GAIL is such a dynamic tool. We've made it very, very easy for you as an agency owner to embed your personality into your version of GAIL. So basically, what we do is we give you two sections that you can kind of customize. The inbound conversations and the outbound conversations. And all it is just, and I hope this isn't too technical of a term, but it's just prompting, right? It's just going in and giving Gail a prompt saying, if a customer calls in and asking for insurance, you're going to ask these questions. Um, and the more you work on it, the more robust it gets. We have another agent. She was actually a speaker at in Indie Tech. Um, she has had Gail answer every single one of her inbound calls for the last couple of months. And it's gotten really, really cool. And she's gotten really creative with how she like built it all out. Because it's not only about insurance anymore for her. She's also using it as kind of traffic control and almost as a gatekeeper for solicitors. So she gets a lot of solicitors calling her agency, and she created a use case with Gail that says if somebody's calling and they seem to be selling something, ask them to please take you off of their call list and that we're not interested at this time, but thank you very much. So she no longer has to deal with solicitors. And so it's tiny things like that that continue to improve, maybe 1% a week. Every agent or every customer of ours is professional lives. And 1% a week doesn't sound like a lot, but that's 52% a year, right? It compounds over time. And that's what we're betting on.
Okay, so we've had, I don't know what the technical term is, but we've had voice tree systems
Oh
uh,
yeah, the IVR menus.
for forever. And,
Yep.
and historically they've been just fantastically frustrating. Uh,
To say the least.
exactly, to say the least. And I get that there are cost saving mechanism, but holy crap, like everybody hates them. So
Yeah.
how is it different now than those old style systems?
And I really appreciate that you're asking this question because, first off, to start off, um, I don't know about you, but every time I'm faced with an IVR menu, I press zero 4 or 5 times to try to get to the operator. That's just, an instinct at this point. It's like muscle memory. Um, because the problem with these IVR menus is you never really know if you're heading down the right branch of that tree until you almost get there. Uh, and why? It's because it's very binary answers that you can give that IVR. So it's either a yes or a no. It's either support or sales, or you need to press a number to for it to direct you. So it's not open-ended. It's not um it's mutually exclusive options is basically what I'm trying to say. What we've done is we've really truly made it a conversational experience. You ask Gail what you want out of the call, and Gail will try to assist you depending on the conversation and how it evolves. So I can ask about, and that's why I gave the example previously. Hey, I can say, hey, I just wanted to check when my homeowner's insurance renews. If I was talking to an IVR, that's, let's say I have to press 2 to go to support, and then I have to press 1 to say I'm an existing customer, and then I have to press 3 to say I want you to transfer me to, I don't know, Lily, who's your agent, whatever, right? You get the point. It's kind of like this whole path. And once you're there, maybe she answers, maybe she doesn't, maybe you need to leave a voicemail. But if you want to ask about, hey, I'd also like to insure my vehicle, you might have to go down that entire phone tree again. Right? You might have to hang up and call again. Um, with our system, it's a much shorter, much easier to um to navigate conversation because it truly is a conversation. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, right?
Okay. What is the origin story? How did you guys realize that this was needed within insurance? You were the right people to build it.
So, the origin story is kind of a roller coaster. Um, so we started our own agency in the year 2020. And we were a very tech forward agency. We had not only the insurance side where we would distribute insurance, but we would also provide risk mitigation tools to our customers. Things like background checks or things like driving history checks, because our customers were primarily um, small to medium-sized car rental companies. So we grew really quickly. 2020, we ended with around 100 customers. By 2023, beginning of 2023, we had around 5,000. So we really, really exploded in growth. But that ended up presenting what I like to call a happy problem. The happy problem being that we did not have enough manpower to handle the amount of submissions, whether support or sales, that we were getting. Um, in the lapse of 12 months, we missed around 60,000 phone calls. Um, and when I saw that number, I thought to myself, that's quite literally uh, millions of dollars that we just missed out on just because we couldn't answer the phone. And it's not that we didn't want to, it's we just fully couldn't do it. We didn't have the manpower. So we said, hey, like if we're feeling this pain point, odds are somebody else out there is feeling it as well. They're having trouble keeping up with their phones, they're having trouble making calls. They need that kind of help. So we started to build GAIL. And one day I say to myself, well, I just need to make sure that agents really would like this. So I get into my car and I drive to 4 different agencies that I just Googled. I just Googled insurance agency near me, and I drove to 4 different ones. And within a 15-minute radius of where I was. Of those 4, 2 of them had signed letters of intent saying that they would want to purchase our service within a week of just presenting them with the idea. So that was a pretty big indicator of product market fit. There was a need, people were willing to pay for it, and we were excited to get, to work. That was around a year ago. And we launched officially around 7 months ago, and the adoption has been extraordinary. We've had a lot of fun, and we've learned a lot of what the everyday insurance agent needs for their operation.
Okay. Um, how many agencies are now on the platform?
So right now we have around 350 agencies using GAIL on a day-to-day basis. And the cool thing is that it's still a very much evolving product. We push updates pretty much every week. So whether that be quality of life updates, and when I say quality of life, it's just the quality of the conversation, or they could also be user interface updates, making sure that the platform is more intuitive, easier to use. We do that constantly, and we're really, really, truly obsessed in maintaining the business of people that believed in our mission.
Uh, um, what is the implementation like? So once an agency decides they want to bring it in, uh, what does it look
Yeah.
like to roll it out to the agency? How does it plug into and where do we have to be on our technology journey to be able to use GAIL?
So, I guess there's two portions to your question, right? Where in the technology journey and how do you actually implement it? The cool thing that we've done is that we've tried to make it um, a standalone product. So it's not like a Google Chrome extension that depends on Google on Chrome, or it's not like an extension for agency Zoom or any of the other existing pieces of software for agencies. We've built a standalone piece of software that you can operate independently of whatever else your tech stack is. So it's been what I believe is one of our biggest value adds because very little integrations are actually necessary for you to start to use GAIL. On the outbound portion, for example, zero integrations. We provide you with a phone number, we provide you with a dashboard, you can upload contacts, so on and so forth. You can operate all of that through GAIL. Inbound, the only thing that you would need to do is, route calls over to the number that we provided you for GAIL. So it's not even really an integration, it's just call forwarding. Um, and that leads to your second point of the question, like where in the tech journey does this tool become relevant? Um, and it it there's not one right answer to that question. It's more like when there's a need for it. So when your agency is growing to the point where you're thinking, maybe I need to hire somebody else, or like a secretary or something like that, or an executive assistant to help me out. Um, but I don't quite have the resources to do that yet. That's when we could be a big help, right? And we allow you to continue to grow without expanding headcount.
Okay.
Um, and in terms of how technically literate you need to be. Another cool little anecdote is when we were building the platform, our litmus test was will my mom be able to use it? So that's how we decided, okay, this is ready to go to market. So it's completely no code. You don't need to be an engineer to use it. All you need to be is pretty much literate, right? Um, so it's very, very intuitive, very easy to use.
What's the pricing like and what kind of commitment?
So the pricing, although this is most definitely going to change at the time being, is just $500 a month. So that's a flat rate, gives you pretty much unlimited usage of GAIL. That's both on the outbound and inbound perspective. Um, and continuous customer support and the continuous updates. Another thing that we're really proud about is that we don't require any minimum commitments. So you don't need to sign up for an entire year. And the reason for that is because we also know that this is a continuously evolving piece of software. So what you signed up for yesterday might not be the same thing that you see tomorrow. Why? Because we're continuously pushing updates. So we say it's a month-to-month service. if you want to like stop your subscription for whatever reason, all we ask is that you provide us with some feedback on what we could have done to improve your experience. And that helps us, continue to iterate and continue to improve the product as we go along.
Okay. What's coming up in the development pipeline that you're already excited about? You can already talk about.
Okay, for one is there's two main updates that I'm really excited to talk about. The first one is we're and I hinted to it earlier, being able to text message and do more omni-channel communications. That one's very excited because what we're doing is we're revamping everything that's the outbound communications. We're creating this little suite, this hub where you can create sequences, you can create outreach strategies, you can run campaigns using different tools, we made it much more customizable for you to really design the experience or that customer journey that you want your customers to have. So that's something that we're really excited about. And then the second update that we're really excited about is something called we call it real time. And basically what we're doing is we're using OpenAI's new real-time API and again, I don't want to be too technical for the people listening in. But basically we want to talk to our different system providers much quicker so that the responses that GAIL has also are much quicker. What do I mean by that? Basically, we measure something today called latency. And latency is the time to intelligent response. And that means, if I'm speaking, how long will it take for GAIL to answer? So right now, 90% of the time, GAIL will answer within 2.1 seconds. So I'll say, hello, hi, how are you today? Blah, 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 right? So it's
And
almost, but not quite.
in a normal human to human conversation on the phone, what's the latency?
Sub 2 seconds. So under 2 seconds is pretty standard. It really depends on the conversation itself, because we do have a tendency to, or at least most people do have a tendency to wait a little bit after the other person's done speaking, just to make sure that they're actually done speaking, right? And that's usually around a second and a half. And then between that second and a half and the next, like, let's say, 1/3 of a second, that's when the next person starts speaking. So that's around where we're going to be with this new real-time API. And what that's going to do is we're going to get past that uncanny valley of conversation, right? So it's no longer going to be people saying, "Hey, am I talking to a robot? Like, what is this? What are you?" It's going to be more like a more fluid conversation. Um, and that brings another point, which, by the way, I do not endorse, anybody saying like that GAIL is an actual like person. We've actually coded it in the back end that GAIL will always identify itself as an AI if asked. So, but yeah, we're still trying to make it as realistic as possible for the customers.
Okay, cool. Um, any uh any measures on what the clients are reporting back when it comes to ROI?
So ROI is difficult to measure in this case because, as I'm sure you know, there's not one agency out there that operates exactly the same as another. So we have a lot of agencies that, um, they want only inbound calls. We have other agencies that decide, oh no, I only want outbound calls. So it really depends on the use case. What I will say is that, we've been growing consistently. somebody we have a Facebook group for those that are curious. It's called just GAIL Community. And recently, one of the cool things that I saw is one of our members posted a screenshot of her Google reviews. Let me see if I can find it here. Okay, here it is. So it's this person commented on her Google page. It said, I haven't even spoken to a live person yet, but I was so impressed with the auto attendant. I had to come rave about it. Seamless and non-irritating. Well done. So, I
We
think,
don't we don't generally see that kind of comment.
yeah, and like when I saw that, like it still gives me chills, right? So, and that's the kind of experience that we really strive to provide our customers. And for $500 a month, that can be, let's say, what if we help you sell two policies, then you're breaking even. If we help you sell three, you're making a profit. If we help you retain policies, you're making a profit there as well. So although I wish I could give an exact answer, it's very difficult to quantify.
So as the product matures, you kind of implied that the pricing for now is 500 a month.
Yeah,
Uh, are you looking at a usage-based pricing or don't yet
that's
know?
exactly it. So we're looking eventually to come to a usage-based pricing. Um, and there's various reasons for that. Just because there's some agencies that consume way, way more than others, right? Now the 55 person shop is going to consume way more than the two-person shop. So we're trying to make it as inclusive and kind of our whole idea is that it should be our product should be almost um how do I say this? It should be financially irresponsible not to use our product. That's kind of what we're going for.
Yeah, that's a great goal to have.
Right? I think so too.
Fantastic. Roberto, thank you for your time today. When this goes live, I will tag both you and the company on LinkedIn. Uh,
Awesome.
yeah, great chatting with you. Incredible that this is where we are as an industry when it comes to technology and that this is only a year into you guys' journey.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really exciting.
Fantastic to see. Thank you so much for your time today.
All right, man. I appreciate it as well.